All right, it being 7 o'clock, I'm going to call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. I'm going to go a little bit out of order just so people don't have to be here all night. And the first order of business I'm going to do is Dennis Murphy, and the town moderator, and Henry Parkers, the school moderator, are both here to discuss deliberative session options. So Dennis and Henry, whoever wants to speak, both can come up. Just make sure that mic's on for me, Dennis. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Dennis Murphy. I'm the town moderator. Am I allowed to take this off?
Sure.
Okay, just want to make sure it's easier to speak when you don't have this on.
A lot easier to hear.
We would like to move Jim Tatro and myself would like to move the town deliberative session from the town hall to the school for social distancing at this point. We won't be able to have any sort of a crowd in here unless we do that. And we can't have our, as many of you know, we can't have our deliberative session on a normal Saturday like we've had in the past. We're going to be a week late because the school board already picked that Saturday for their deliberative session. So ours will be a week later. I already have permission from the school and from Val Carey. I have not talked to the school board on this, but Val is in charge of the school and the facilities, so I went to her first. If I need to go to the school board, I will. And also going further down into March, which is why Henry is also here, is we'd like to have the town elections again held at the school, again for social distancing. The only real complaint that I heard during the fall primary and the general election was some people had to walk a little bit of a distance to get from point A to point B if they had to register and what have you. But there was nothing that hindered someone from voting or anything else. And as a matter of fact, even though we had a long line because of the 6-foot rule, that line went by very fast. So we'd like to, again, do Henry and I are both in agreement to have both the town and school elections held at the school. And I would need your blessing because we'll be, again, moving and location of the election, and it gives us ample time for the postings so we don't get in trouble the 2-month period because we vote the second Tuesday of March.
Yep. No, I agree. Voting seemed to go really well up to the school for the both the primary and the regular elections.
I have 2 questions. So, what was the original date for the town school deliberatives?
Is your mic on, Gloria?
Yeah. What was the original dates for the town and the school deliberative?
Normally we have ours the last Saturday in January, and normally, and correct me Henry if I'm wrong, they pick the next Thursday of the following the town deliberative.
Yeah.
And this year they changed it for whatever reason. They beat us to the punch.
So the school picked the date that we had originally scheduled for.
Well, we didn't have anything scheduled.
Okay.
Yeah.
They picked the same Saturday that.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah. Historically, we've always had that date.
Okay.
They chose to take that date, which puts us, either we do a Thursday, which I don't think anybody wants to do, or postpone it until the first Saturday of February.
Okay, so the school deliberative is going to be the last Saturday, and the town deliberative is going to be the first Saturday of February.
That's correct.
Okay. The other thing is, so if you account for social distancing, what's the max capacity that, like, are you going to have a cutoff?
I don't know what it is, but the school's going to leave it set up.
Okay.
Because they won't be, because for the gym, so they don't have to tear it down and put everything back up there. So they're going to be ready for their deliberative session. And they're gonna be at max capacity because of the school board issues of this year, mainly being the budget.
But we don't know what that number is
I don't know
yet.
what that number is. I can get you that, but right now I do not know. Because we're also gonna be able to use the bleachers and social distancing on the bleachers, plus the chairs on the floor, and we'd be set up underneath the clocks.
Does anybody else from the board have any questions on this, or are we all in agreement with it? Henry, did you have anything else to add, or?
The only thing I can add is, if I went with Dennis, I would know, because I've not heard a word from the school when the deliberative session will be. So thank goodness for Dennis, giving this information to me. I'm surprised that, because usually we have our deliberative sessions, I believe, on Wednesday to Thursday nights, historically.
Right.
And now we're having it on a Saturday, and I'm not sure what time that is. So I've not heard a word from the school, but let me agree with Dennis. I think it'd be very wise, and if you're reading the paper today, this COVID thing is rapidly moving steadily forward. And anything we can do to protect the people of the town of Winchester. If that means going up the road, let's do it, please.
Yep.
We all know what we're facing. We all know what we're facing. And it's not a very pretty picture. But I think we should be the ones who paint a much better picture for the health of our town. And I would ask you please to comply with our request. Thank you.
Yep, thank you, Henry.
Do we need a motion for that, Ben?
Yeah, we'd need a motion to move our deliberative up there.
Moving February 6th, Saturday, February 6th.
Right, and we'd have to, we can include in the same motion for setting the date.
I'll make a motion to move the town's deliberative session to the school on February 6th.
I'll second that.
At what time?
What time? Oh, yeah, what time?
What time were you,
Normally, we start at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
yeah. That's still gonna work okay with the school?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
At 9 o'clock, 9 a.m.
9 o'clock, February 6th, at the school for this town deliberative. Did somebody second that?
I did.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Dennis and Henry.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to move the March elections to the school also.
I'll make that a motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries.
So what date is that? It's going to be March the 9th?
I don't have my calendar
It's
with
the
me.
second Tuesday, whatever that is.
That's March 9th.
But it does have to be posted,
Right.
and we'll have plenty of time for that one versus what we had in September.
Yeah, and this time around, I'm gonna see what we can do about getting a big sign to put out front so that people know that everything's been moved up to the school, because even though we had it posted for a while and there was still a lot of confusion, I had quite a few people come up to me and say they didn't realize till they got out of their car here, walked up to the door, and then saw the posting. So I'll see what we can do about getting a big sign made for all those dates to put out there.
What about the Kiwanis, Dennis? Maybe you guys could...
We did post that
Okay.
Yeah.
on the board,
Over on you.
and people are still, whether they read it, don't read it, it was
Some people
posted
don't
where
even see
the
that.
elections were.
Well, unfortunately, once you get to that point in the election process, there's so many political signs around the Kiwanis sign, people honestly stop looking at that direction. They're so tired of seeing signs that they stop looking at them. So yeah, well, I'll see what we can do about getting a big sign made up to put out here so that people know for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again, guys.
Thank you very much for taking us on so early.
Yeah.
I'm already late for bed. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
You too. Thank you, Henry. All right, moving on. Next order of business will be to approve the minutes from December 9th.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Opposed? None. Motion carries forward with one abstention. Threw me off. I forgot my own name. Next, we have a request from Dean Beeman with the Snowmobile Club. They would like to see about getting permission from the town to possibly set up a parking area for loading and unloading of snowmobiles down on the tannery property, which is right on the railroad track, so it would work out conveniently for them. I have no problem with it. I like the idea. My only concern is I think I would be fine with making a motion to do this. I would just ask that there be a stipulation that we make sure DES is fine with it first. So,
I'll make that a motion.
all right. So that motion is going to be to approve the request of the Snowmobile Club pending DES's approval.
Right. I'll second that.
All right. Any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Should we put a curfew on there with houses? I mean, I know they're gonna ride the trails regardless, but
Yeah.
people coming up, there's a couple of houses pretty close there.
Yeah, there are, but unfortunately,
Not gonna be able to enforce it anyway.
right, as soon as you put a curfew on, then you gotta have somebody to enforce it.
Yeah.
And, I think we just, I mean, it'll be the first year it's happened, so
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And if it's like all the winters we've had recently, there ain't gonna be enough snow to make it worth snowmobiling anyway.
Tomorrow there will be.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Next, the City of Keene sent us their yearly paperwork to see if the town of Winchester would like to get in on or pay to be part of the hazardous waste collection. This year's fixed cost that they're proposing to us is $5,879. And in the last few years, we stopped doing this because we're spending $6,000 a year and one or two people were using it. So it's up to the rest of the board, but my thought is that we do not participate.
I'll second that.
Well, we don't need a motion if we're not going to do it, right?
Right. No action being taken. So you
No,
don't need a motion.
yeah, it'd be no action being taken. I mean, Winchester residents are still able to go there on their hazardous waste days. They just have to pay for whatever waste they're bringing in, but they don't turn away Winchester residents. So. All right. As FYI here, or an announcement for everybody, I guess, the transfer station will be closing at 2 p.m. on both Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And we have a concerned citizen letter from a citizen on Michigan Street. Last week at the meeting, a citizen had brought up the concern with the ice in the road up there, and this citizen is concerned with the same thing. She said that she has spoken with the highway crew over the last 5 years that she's lived there, and they've been, excellent in talking to her and trying to help her and work with her, but she feels that there needs to be something else done about the water problem, which we all can agree, but at the same time, as we've already discussed a couple years ago, it's going to take blasting of ledge, which is going to cost a small fortune to get the water out of the road up there. So I don't know, Channy, I know you've been working with Dale on the Route 10 water ice problem. that's something up there that you and Dale want to take another look at and see if anybody?
I haven't looked at it because I've been busy with Danny's, but,
Yeah. Do you have time to maybe look at that Michigan Street one too?
okay.
I just figure while you're in the same, and unfortunately
It's the same water.
it's the same water. I live on that same hill, and the driveway across the road from me covers the road in ice. I mean, that hill's got a lot of water on it, and it's got to go somewhere.
Well, if you catch it up to Danny's, it won't, you have to catch it up there, it won't make it down to Danny's.
Yeah. So, yeah, see if you guys can come up with something and let us know.
All right.
Next, we have, excuse me, is this an intent to cut?
No.
Yes, well, it's two. The intent is we own the property because it's at the wastewater plant. So we have to sign off that the cut was done.
Right.
And then there's the report of cut for the timber tax. So it's a two-part.
Okay, I just see the report of timber cut. I've never seen a paper labeled that before. So we've got, well, it's not an intent to cut then. We have the report of
Report
cut
that we have to sign off on
and
because it's town property.
the timber tax. So the report of timber is complete, and there's really no numbers here, but the timber cut at the wastewater treatment plant is complete. And then also there's a timber tax of $514.75 to approve on that.
Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. I'm moving this one signature page to the back of the packet because it only has room for for my signature. So the front part of the packet, there's 2 pages for everybody else to sign. Next, we have a water or a sewer abatement for map 8 lot. Is that 119 or 1/9?
It's 119.
Okay. Total amount is for $1,470.74, and this is for the Forest Lake Campground.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. And that was also recommended to approve by the Water and Sewer Superintendent. And the last thing I have in here is we had to table it a couple weeks because we didn't have a full board. But now that we have a full board, we need to discuss whether we'd like to continue running the ambulance the way we've been doing it for the last year, or what. But talking with the fire chief, his recommendation is to continue. My recommendation is to continue. We can see just in the call volume, in the call numbers, that it's working. Unfortunately, it is a little bit of an extra expense in the budget to the town. But we honestly knew from day one it was never going to be self-sufficient, as much as in the real world we'd love it to be. but it's just not possible. But I think it's a great service, and I think we need to continue with the way it's been going.
I'd like to make that a motion to continue it for another year and see how they go.
Second that.
All right, well, in discussion on it, I would just question putting a 1 year stipulation on there. I feel like we should just vote to continue it as a regular, just like any other town department that's gonna just run and operate like this.
It's worked good for the first year, and I think they've came a long ways. They're not there yet, but they're going to get there if they keep working at it. And they got a good crew. I say let's try it. I don't care if we go long term or not, but I think we ought to keep going with it. That's my opinion.
Right, yeah, no, I agree, we need to keep going. I just don't wanna I personally don't wanna put a 1 year stipulation on it. I'd like to just make or have the motion be to, continue operating the ambulance as we have been.
Well, my feeling is I think we should do a 1 year stipulation and see where the numbers are, and then talk to Deluzio, and if, I mean, I know they've come a long ways, but I mean, what happens, this year if the numbers are way off, Ben?
Yeah,
I mean, because we can do this next year again, right? Continue?
oh yeah, I mean, we can keep continuing every year.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, I guess, either way. I just would rather see it just be a regular town department and not have to revisit it every year to continue it or not. Plus, I can see where eventually it would turn into it would become harder to, if and when there was job openings available over there, if somebody had left for any reason, it'd be harder to get somebody qualified for the position, knowing that it's on a yearly renewal. I know if it was myself looking for full-time, well, this is part-time work, but
Yeah, but I thought.
looking for this type of work, I wouldn't apply knowing that a year from now the job could just end and
Well, I thought the talk was, though, if Deluzio took it over, they would take the attendees that we have.
No, it was talk. We had asked about that, and the answer we got was that they could all apply, but there was no guarantee that he would hire every single one of them. And the prices we got from Deluzio were nowhere near comparable to what it's actually costing us. It doesn't matter to me. Right now, the motion has a 1 year clause on it. If you guys don't want to change that, then I'll call the motion. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Even though I disagreed with the 1 year clause, I still agree that it needs to stay running. That's why I still voted yes for it. That's all we have in the folder. I just wanted to make a couple of quick announcements. First of all, we had a public hearing that we had discussed holding on the 30th to look at adding the tool policy for people bringing personal tools to work. However, at this time, it's not a serious pressing issue, and where we're going to be trying to do as much as we can to keep these meetings short as possible, I think we should hold off on that public hearing. We're trying to limit the amount of exposure inside the building as much as we can, so having a public hearing like that, I think, is working backwards. And like I said, it's not a pressing issue. So that particular thing can wait a little while still. And then, no, I guess I was the only one. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Does anybody else from the board have anything?
One of the guys at the state garage down there got tested positive for the virus. Just so everybody's aware of it. And also, the state sent Danny a bill for sanding up there on Route 10.
Did they?
They did.
You gonna pay that?
Not me. I told him, do you don't want to do it?
No new updates on that.
Yeah.
You don't have any new updates on
No,
that?
it's-
No. Okay.
He done what we asked him. It's still leaking.
No.
Yeah, it's bad out there.
Did you have anything, Gloria?
A couple things, the Red Committee, we have the light contest, the house lights, Christmas lights contest going on. And also, the Broadband Committee did not meet last week. We've decided to go into every other week. And we encourage everyone to respond to the survey that was either on the back of your mailing, or there's also a Survey Monkey link for that. So we encourage everybody to please respond to the survey so we can continue with our investigation into the whole broadband stuff.
Yeah, I've had-
Checking into the grant.
I've had quite a few people reach out to me saying they didn't even receive a survey,
It was
and
on the back of the town newsletter.
Yeah,
So they
well-
probably didn't realize it was there.
well, that's what I'm thinking. Part of it was I know myself at my house I never even got the town newsletter or the survey, but I also don't have internet, so I couldn't fill out the survey because I don't know the information.
There's money out there now for broadband. I don't know how we get it, but maybe Kerry can bring us up to date. They can check into it. They're going to have a grant out there for it. So
I'm pretty sure it's the
Might
same
help.
grant that's been going on.
No, this is new.
this is
Oh, is there a
just
new one?
now, yeah, for
Oh.
broadband. So
I don't have cable, so I don't get to watch the news.
Do you want me to give a broadband update real quick?
Yes, please.
Yeah, please. By the way, who's the president or the chairman of the broadband committee?
Jen Howe.
Jen
Okay.
Farlow.
Gomar Howe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jen
yeah.
Howard.
So the broadband committee, because what we're talking about now is because not everybody received the survey, we're in the process of making a new one. That could go out on like a little thicker paper because the town newsletter was, just a sheet of paper that was stuck in a mailbox. A lot of people probably just got rid of it. So we're going to make a new one. We're going to go over that eternally and then present it to you guys. We will not be able to meet this year the deadline for a warrant article for it because we haven't gotten back all of our RFIs from all of the service providers. So we have more time now. We don't have to meet every week. So next year we'll be able to present that. It's actually going to cost zero money to taxpayers to do this, but it'll expand internet to everybody in Winchester and Ashwellet, which is wonderful. But you guys, we'll present you with that new pamphlet to go out for the survey for everybody, and hopefully you guys will approve it, and then we'll move on to the next step.
All right, thank you. Yeah, and for anybody watching out in Facebook land, I know it's been mentioned on multiple pages on Facebook, but if you didn't receive the survey, you can either email Carrie or ask for a copy or the link to the Survey Monkey.
It's posted on both group chats in the announcement.
Yep. And if you, it is posted, but if you have a hard time finding it, just throw a question out there about it, and somebody will respond to it with the link to be able to do it. Because I know I didn't count them, but I think there might be 50 in the folder.
There's more on the online survey
Yep.
done already, but I just want to note that the broadband committee and the rec committee are also looking for people to serve on their boards. The rec committee specifically is looking for a secretary. I don't know if you want to say in the mic so they can hear it, but the broadband committee is also looking for another member.
Okay. How many members are currently on the red committee right now?
1, 2, 5,
6.
6.
6. So there's one position open there?
They're looking for a
One on
secretary.
each.
Yeah, one of the
One in each board.
Okay. So, yeah, anybody interested in helping out, the red committee and the broadband committee are both looking for volunteers. Just contact Carrie and she can get you the volunteer interest form so you can get it filled out and turned in. Is that all you had, Gloria?
That's it.
Mike, did you have any updates on the clock, or is everything still good? Go ahead.
It is perpetually fast. Okay, I'd rather have it fast than slow. It's a non-temperature compensated pendulum, and right now I'm up there about at least once every other day. So I'm hoping I don't wear out the steps.
Yeah.
But it is a labor of love, but it's rewarding in its own right. And if you can find a way to build me my own entrance, I would probably have lunch in the Belfry, and at least I would know when my lunchtime is up.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I had quickly asked Selectman Marsh if I may cut those up, use the floor here to cut them up, not on the floor, but set up a table, put some cardboard down, protect the table, and cut the plexiglass, because I measured the diagonal opening of the hatch getting up into the Belfry, and it's only 17 inches.
Yep.
You can get up it if I go sideways, and of course, sometimes you wind up losing your drawers coming down, but it is a tight fit. But I can
Right.
put those up in there and put them up with body side molding so that it's a nice tight fit and it won't leak. Okay, and I can go all the way up to the top if they overlap. I did find some butyrate H channel where I can fit. It's 1/8 inch thick, and I can join the two so we won't get any leaks there.
Yep.
And that's readily available. It's pretty cheap, and it's probably do a better job at sealing than aluminum H channel.
Right.
So if I can cut those up into thin slices, I can get them in. I will be taking off the chicken wire, but I'll be replacing the chicken wire on the back for support, just to keep the wind from
Right.
blowing it out, if that's okay with you folks.
Yeah, I mean, we bought the plexiglass to stop the leaks up there.
Okay?
So if you want to do it yourself, whatever you got to do.
Yeah, I can get up there.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Yep.
Two other things, if you don't mind. Several weeks ago, Chief Tollett proposed a caseworker, a social worker, and I think that was tabled because you didn't have a full board at the time. Has there been any movement on that?
No, that's still tabled.
Okay. And, Mr. Chairman, having the privilege of sitting in with you and Barry and the former lieutenant for the ambulance committee, nothing is ever finished, okay, or certain, or etched in stone. And to the rest of the board, I would have to agree with the chairman here. I would appreciate it if you would at least consider revisiting that vote on making it for 1 year only, because having heard the inside story of all of the help that works, all of the employees that work for the ambulance crew, I think it could be a little demoralizing to find out that the board, for whatever reason, appears to not have ironclad confidence in their ability to pull this off. Okay, so that's like the sword of Damocles hanging over their head. Also, the fact that Rob is probably the most elusive figure in history. So to get him down here and renegotiate anything is like, pulling teeth out of him. So I would think that if you took into consideration the fine folks that work for the town and put themselves out on the front lines for us, that you might reconsider that or revisit that vote.
Hey, Mike, I just want to say the reason I said that is because they've been a year and they've had good people. Next year, you don't know what you're going to get for people. You don't know what the prices are going to be, and we don't know if it'll be cheaper to bring in somebody then. So that's why I wanted to look ahead, and if they're improving next year, then we'll go full time with them. You know what I mean? Whatever we need to do to move them along. But I think they've only had 1 year of trying it, so we don't have nothing to really base it on.
Well,
Next year we
getting
would have
good
something.
people and keeping them up to par is a leadership question. And I know that's not your role, but there are people that would be in charge of that. And,
Well, I understand that.
and you know, that's where the buck would stop, you know. They ultimately would be answerable to you. But again, having the privilege of being able to sit in on those meetings and talk with the powers to be that run the operation, it just seems that you know, getting people is hard enough. Keeping them seems to be a little bit harder in this town. So just whatever it's worth.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just like the record to show real quick too, Channy, I believe when you mentioned that your intention is a year from now to revisit this and keep it and make it full-time afterwards, you were referring to making it a permanent part of the town and not necessarily a full-time position.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what
I just didn't want anybody to get the
wrong idea.
wrong thought on that, well, we'll stick it out for 1 more year, then we'll be full-time, and no, that's
I
not
think
what,
they're doing a
that's
great
not what was
job.
meant.
Yeah, I give them this, they're doing a great job. They've come 80%, you know what I mean, compared to what we were. And we've looked at it for a long time, and last year, we were thinking about closing it and having Deluzio do it. So we've only got 1 year to go on, and I'd like just another year to find out if they're getting better or worse, and then, you know, how your help's gonna be. That was my only reason for that. It's nothing personal, it was just.
All right, well, for the sake of keeping the meeting short, we'll move on. You didn't have nothing, right, Carrie? Okay. I will now open it to public comment for 15 minutes of public comment. Oh, I did have one more thing. Go ahead.
Kevin Bazan, 7 Swan Street. Ben, I was wondering if you had any information. It was a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned the fund balance.
Yep.
And the fund balance is now up over $700,000, about $400,000 more than it was last year. And I know you have a couple of questions that are going out to the attorney.
Yep.
Kind of a separate matter there. But I was wondering if you had heard back from your legal and what you could use that fund balance for. But I was also wondering if the public could get maybe an explanation on how the fund balance is established and how it goes up and down each year. Because a $400,000 difference between last year and this year tells me that somehow the town found a way to save $400,000, which is a significant amount of money. So, you know, perhaps that would be a good education for the townspeople to realize how that figure, and I know that's a figure that is established basically by the state, but
Yeah, the state
even
sets
still,
that figure, not us.
even still, it would probably be good for the town to know, you know, what the selectmen can do, what they can't do with that money. How did it go up by $400,000 this past year? I think those are all good things to know.
Right.
Kevin, the only thing that the state allows us to do with that money is to offset taxation, period.
Well, we can use it in the case of a
case
natural
emergency,
disaster.
But that's the reason, but for a daily, and I was responding to him as a daily, account to have available to us.
Right.
It isn't. It isn't, a case of emergency or offset taxation.
Hey, I mean, to me, that seems like really vague. I mean, what would an emergency be?
A natural disaster.
Right.
I mean,
Main
a natural
Street.
disaster can mean many different things. Still, I guess my point is, and I understand that you're speaking to legal. How did the town of Winchester save $400,000 last year?
Carrie, do you remember Amy explained how the fund balance becomes what it is?
I think in the binder,
No, it's in the back of the folder. In the back of the folders.
Amy spoke to the auditor. The auditor's the one that comes up with the MS5, which is based on liability, assets. That's what we were told by our auditors. And then that information goes to the DRA, and that's, I mean, we could dig in with our auditors and have them line by line kind of figure it out, but it would take some time to get that information.
Okay, I mean,
It's not like black and white, like,
I understand that. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, not necessarily knowing the background on how that figure is come up with, it seems to me that, $400,000 is a significant amount of money, and that should like really show up in bold somewhere in the town report.
It shows up on the MS 535, I believe it is. And the schools, Kevin, as you're well aware, would be the MS, is it 25, 24?
Yeah.
So that's what it shows up on.
No, this isn't that answer.
And I was just wondering if there was any discussion on using any of that money to offset taxation this year, as we have done in the past.
No, well, we did that during the public meeting, during our regular Wednesday night meeting, and the discussion was that because there was such a huge decrease in the tax rate already, that I've been on the select board 4 years now. This is the fourth time I've sat in on setting the tax rate, and 3 of those years we've had to use that money to offset the taxes and bring us, as you well know, well below what the state recommends stays in that fund for the purpose of offsetting taxes. And this is the first year in quite a few years that we haven't had to do that. We felt that because there was a significant drop in the tax rate, that we didn't need to deplete that fund back down to almost nothing again to offset the taxes.
Ideally, you don't want to have to touch that fund at all to
Correct.
change the tax rate. The tax rate should be where it is, because that gives the taxpayers in Winchester a false sense of what the tax rate actually is. I mean, you're using that money to offset the actual amount.
Right, because legally we can, and in years past we felt like we needed to help the taxpayers, to keep the tax rate low for that year.
I think that's another part of the process that a lot of people in Winchester don't understand. They understand the cost. They understand the cost of what it takes to run the town and run the school. They understand the revenues that are involved, but they don't understand some of the manipulation. Well, manipulation is probably the wrong word to use, but some
Definitely the wrong word to use.
they don't understand what the selectmen can do to change that number,
Right.
bring that number down farther.
And that's really the only option. That's the only option there is for the selectmen to change what comes to us from the DRA as a recommended tax rate.
Is that what you ended up hearing back from in regards to legal, or?
No, what I was waiting to hear back from on legal was the request from the school board to the budget committee as far as what the money from that fund could be used for.
And you just haven't heard back yet?
No, not completely.
Okay.
There was a partial response, but there was still a follow-up question because the response didn't cover every part of the question. So
All right.
I just wanted to make sure before the answer is given to the budget committee on the request, I wanted to make sure the whole thing was covered so there wasn't any more follow-up questions with it.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. And I will, it's not in the folder, but I will, for next week's meeting, have Amy type me up exactly what she said as far as how that fund balance becomes what it is. It was something to do with the auditors and the DRA, and they figure out adjusted revenues and
assets and liabilities.
You're not having a meeting next week, right?
No.
No.
the week after. Right.
Natalie Cavato on 12-ish Wheeler Street. I'm just here to ask again if we can possibly bring these meetings to a virtual platform. There's more people attending online than there are here in person. People want to come. I know for years you've said that people haven't been here, but it's not the case anymore. People actually want to come to these meetings, but they don't feel safe because not everybody wears a mask. I'm not asking you to put a mask mandate in place. I'm just asking you to please offer these meetings virtually. I'm immunocompromised. I sit here every week and record them so people in this town can see, what goes on because they want to get involved. So I'm just asking that the board please put something in place that will allow everything you're trying to do here, which a lot of it is wonderful, to bring to the public so everybody could be involved. It's not hard. I could help you set it up. I'm just asking you again. I know masks are a hot topic, but people want to be here and they want to be involved, but they can't because there's no masks. So let's bring it to them virtually. The people that cannot attend, who don't want to wear masks, they could come here. But the people who are concerned for their health can attend virtually. So I was hoping that you guys can make a motion so that way we could, work together on this and bring the meetings to everybody.
Well, I don't think we're prepared to make a motion because we don't have a plan set in place, but I spoke to Carrie earlier this week or late last week, I can't remember now, about finding out, or not finding out, but seeing if we could figure out a way to do live streaming ourselves so that you didn't have to do it anymore. And that would bring the possibility, if need be, to have all public participation be through the live feed.
Completely remote, or are you still not going to meet in person?
I'm personally looking at completely remote.
Okay.
That's my personal feeling, but that's just a conversation I had with Carrie to try and figure something out in my head. That's not a conversation the board has had.
I was wondering if each board member could tell me their thoughts on it.
I'm not interested in going remote, so.
Okay. Jack?
First of all, I only can understand about every other word you're saying. So
I could talk louder.
See, I can't understand what you're saying right there. I've heard bits and pieces about going remote and mask. I apologize, but I can't understand what you're saying. The volume isn't the problem. It's clarity.
Okay, I could say it again. I'm asking if you are, can you hear me? I'm asking if you are willing to bring the meetings virtually so the majority of the people that are watching at home right now can be active participants at every meeting.
Oh, I honestly think they could be active participants right here if they wanted to come down.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is because they do not want to come down because there are no masks. So I'm asking for a compromise.
Well, I don't. First of all, I haven't heard anyone except you say that to me.
There's 20 people watching right now who
All right,
do the same thing.
hey, guys.
And second of all,
Please.
let me ask you this one simple question. Your mask protects you from anything being inhaled into your body, correct?
And exhaled, correct.
And exhaled. So as long as one of us has it on, you're protected, right?
Not necessarily.
Well,
Masks
you just said it protects you from being inhaled or exhaled.
I could get into the
Period.
science of it if you would like me to.
Okay, guys, none of us are doctors. None of
Right.
us are qualified to have this discussion.
That's where I stand.
The
I think they can come down and they'd be perfectly safe.
So then you are on record saying that you are not willing to bring public information to people that are concerned for their health virtually.
Virtually no. Public information live right here at 7 o'clock every Wednesday night.
Okay, so you are going on record saying that you are...
How many times do you want me to say it?
Okay, cool. Cheney?
I feel the same way. I don't know.
Okay, Gloria?
People just want to sit on their couch and run their mouth. They can come down here is the way I look at it too.
Okay, they're concerned for their health. Gloria?
My opinion is I could do either way. I have been doing board meetings, rec committee, and the board band, and my Lions Club, all online, and it's working just fine. I will be wherever
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, Ben. That's all I have. Thank you.
Anybody else have anything for public comment? All right, I will close public comment. And also just so everybody, I don't know if everybody remembers or not, but back when the COVID restrictions first had to start 6 months ago, 7 months ago, we did make the announcement then that anybody that does have any questions or concerns can definitely, if they don't feel like they can make it here, they can also email Carrie, and we will discuss their concerns and answer any questions that are emailed. I'm not saying that's the end-all solution to everything, but that is an option that's also out there. That being it, I entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A32, little A, C, and E.
So move.
Jack Marsh.
Aye.
James Rokes. Herb Stevens. Gloria Lustek. Ben Klansky, aye. We are now in non-public and do not foresee us having any other business.